So, we're going to have a little story time this morning because I think it's really important for all of you out there to know who's speaking to you, what my background is, where I come from, and all that good stuff. And I think you've all listened to me enough, and I think some of you have questions. Well, I know you do because I get asked them when I'm talking to people and booking clients and consultations and all that stuff. So, my name's Bethany. I was born in California. My mother was 17 when she got pregnant with me. My father was 25. I had no contact primarily with my father growing up. He was in and out of my life. His father died in prison for being a child molester. And my mom basically had no help. She was seriously psychologically and emotionally and physically abused as a child by the woman who adopted her. From my mom, because now I do talk to my mother. My mom told me this summer when we had this long sit-down talk of really just rekindling our relationship. And when my mom was in the third grade, my mom had the highest IQ in the state of California, and it was well over 160. I'm just going to leave it at that. And so imagine being 17, getting pregnant the first time you have sex by a man who's 25, who comes from a family of predators. I'm just going to leave it at that. And being raised by a woman she was the devil. She is the best way to describe the woman who raised me. She's Mother Gothel. That is the quintessential Disney character for her. And, she told my mom to abort me. She told my mom she would have absolutely nothing to do with her and that she'd be out on her own, and she kicked her out. Literally threw my mom out on the streets and into a nasty, disgusting home with my father. Didn't last for very long because the minute the woman found out that my mother was having a girl, she had to get her hooks in, because women who are abusers, to the extent that that woman was, are sick. And the only thing they care about is, especially with girls, is beauty. It's all a facade. It's all about their image. These types of women are sick. Oh, these types of women are so sick. And they tend to latch onto their children and live vicariously through them and control them and manipulate them and everything else because they're miserable human beings, because usually their childhood was miserable. But that's no excuse to abuse a child. Sorry. So in a nutshell, my mom she had me at 18. She got pregnant at 17, had me at 18. And she was struggling to survive as a young mom who had a child with a man who, my dad was still married at the time. I think he was in the process of the divorce or whatever, but I do have an older stepsister or a half sister. And so, he was not a good man. He still is not a good man, and I have no relationship with him. And it took me years to get to that point, but it also took me years to learn the actual truth about my father and my father's family. Okay? So my skin in this game, when it comes to fighting monsters who do horrific things to children, well, it's very personal for me. Trust me, because I come from a family on my father's side that's filled with people that just haven't been good men. And I've been on a mission for a very, very long time to break that cycle and to ensure that it won't continue on their end, because I've been vocal about it, especially since my custody cases began, especially since that man tried to align with my abuser, and him and my ex and my father all of a sudden became friends. Didn't even know each other. My dad didn't even know me. That's the best part. The absolute best part about it. So let's just say my childhood was a little wild, but let's just say at the same time, I was made out to be a little JonBenet Ramsey. I was a pageant girl. I was being groomed to be Miss America, quite literally. I was groomed to be on Broadway. I was in the entertainment business. I started at about 3.5. The woman who raised me stole every bit of the money that I made. And she used and abused me in ways it's hard to even put it to words because it's so much, right? Because that's what people who are on that dark pyramid of yucky dark psychology, the narcissistic sociopaths, the psychopaths, all that kind of stuff. That's how they treat their children. They treat them as a piece of property. They own you. You are theirs. You have no say in your life. You have no voice. You do what they say you do, and that's it. And if you don't, boy, is there hell to pay. And then all hell breaks loose when the child finally says, I've had enough of this, or the child just naturally starts to detach, right? So that's the beginning of my childhood. That's the beginning of me understanding just how messed up this family court system is. I remember the fights. I remember begging to call my mother, begging to go and live with her. Please just take me out of this insanity. Never. I remember the woman who tortured me just screaming and threatening hell in her will that we found a couple years ago. She even stated in her will, if I ever at any point ever lived with my mother and left her and had anything to do with living with my mother, and that I didn't maintain a 4.0 GPA, that I was to be completely cut off. I wasn't to inherit absolutely anything. And I literally couldn't even get the underwear that I had paid for out of my own room because she owned absolutely everything. At 18, I ran away, literally with 2 trash bags. And my auntie, who's not really my biological auntie, but she was my auntie, came and literally screeched around the corner and grabbed me and ran away. And we were terrified of this woman. And this woman tried to do things. She tried to call CPS and have her kids removed. That was always the threat, because that's what these types of people do. They know how to use the system. It's called gaming the system. And those who accuse you of gaming the system are usually the ones who are gaming the system, right? Projections are confessions. Remember that, boys and girls. So I know a thing or two about escaping these monsters. I know a thing or two about surviving these monsters. I know a thing or two about how the psychological impact leaves such a deep scar on a child that they continue to repeat behaviors because they're just in survival mode. I know what it's like. I ran away to New York City on a full scholarship to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy at 18 years old with $100 in my pocket. I left New York after 9/11. I witnessed everything. I worked for one of the top talent agencies in the industry, the Agency for the Performing Arts. Okay? I've been a couple places and I've seen a lot. I know what I'm talking about. Because not only have I done all that, but I also went to paralegal school and I went into family law. I just didn't make enough money as a paralegal 13 years ago to be a single mom and to support my kids. The law is my passion. Politics is my passion. Saving children is my passion. Because all I've tried to do my entire life is save children. I have a brother 7 years younger than me, a sister who's 14 years younger than me, and another baby sister who's 20 years younger than me. And I've watched all of their childhood unfold before my eyes and have taken in all the madness that those children have endured as a result of these psychopathic individuals trying to control them, manipulate them, do horrific things to them, abuse them, you name it. My skin in this game is thick because I've been in the trenches my entire life with this fight. And I will not stop, which is why I moved back to Louisiana and headed straight to New Orleans. My domestic violence therapist insisted that I make this move, not only to find my music again and to get back in the entertainment business, but to continue my advocacy. Because throughout all this, it wasn't an advocate. It wasn't a page that I found. It wasn't a Google search. I was suicidal. I called for help. And thank God this beautiful African-American man by the name of Jonathan stopped me and said, "Stop. I'm a former cop. I'm a former CPS worker. I know exactly what's going on. And what you're living through right now is intentionally designed to make you this way. Stop. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know." And then he got me the best child trauma therapist that I could have ever been given, because that's what God does. That's how God works in all of this. He starts connecting the right people to each other to do the healing work. So if you found me on this Tiki Talk and I resonate with you because you see the passion in me and you hear the passion in my voice and you know I'm real, that I'm not one of these advocates that's out to take your money, to get you to sign up for this and to sign up for that and give me $1,800 and $5,000. No, that's not my game. That's not. I'm here not only just to help you survive this, but I'm here to help your children get through this and get out of this so that you can have a relationship with your children a hell of a lot sooner, and that you won't lose 17 years of a relationship with your child, because I lost 17 years of a relationship with my mother. But we're back together. And my kids know her, but I've still had to live with all that guilt and all that shame and all that pain for 42 years. All as a result of one sociopathic, psychopathic woman who was mentally deranged and should never have ever been given possession of a child. She was also a teacher. So I don't need anyone telling me what I can and cannot say and what words I can and cannot use. As a child abuse survivor, as a child abuse advocate, and as a human rights advocate, I can assure you nothing comes out of my mouth that isn't factual and true. Period. Because I'm someone who's very well versed in the law. No one's going to sue me for defamation or slander or anything else, because everything I state is factual. Period. And I won't back down. I won't back down, because there's a reason why children run to me for help. There's a reason why. It's because I listen, because I engage, because I speak their language, and because I look at them and I tell them, we're going to get through this, kiddos. I'm going to show you how. You can choose to believe me or not. That's on you. I have too many witnesses to my life and way too much testimony. So I'm not here to be bullied by anybody. I'm not here to be told to be quiet or to not say this or not say that. It's not happening. And it's not going to work with me, because I'm a different voice in this game. And all I'm trying to do is save some babies and bring my daughter home and end this insanity that's going on in this country, and to hold every judicial official and every other individual who is trafficking children accountable for their egregious crimes against humanity. That's it. If you got beef with that, scroll on, move on. Don't stalk me. Don't look at my stuff. Don't talk about me, because that says something about you. Because if you don't like me and you're talking about me and you're checking in and you're gossiping, that says something about you. It really does. So for all of you out there who are struggling to keep your head above water, who are struggling to stay alive, just know you can do it. Just keep swimming. Just keep pushing. Just keep breathing. Because sometimes that's all you can do, is just wake up and breathe. God bless you all.